India to Ethiopia. In those days, when King Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the citadel, that in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast for all his officials and servants, the powers of Persia and Media, the nobles and the princes of the provinces being before him, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the splendor of his excellent majesty for many days, 180 days in all. And when these days were completed, the king made a feast lasting 7 days for the people who were present in Shushan the citadel, from great to small, in the court of the garden of the king's palace.
Bossman requests your presence at the party.
I'm his wife and queen of this dynasty, not his court clan. Go find someone else.
The queen refuses to obey your orders.
What should I do?
If other women hear that the queen has disobeyed her husband and was not punished, then they will all rise up against their men, and the result would be chaos. You must banish her from the kingdom.
Guard, banish the queen!
After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus subsided, he remembered Vashti, what she had done and what had been decreed against her. Then the king's servants who attended him said, "Let beautiful young virgins be sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather all the beautiful young virgins to Shushan the citadel, into the women's quarters, under the custody of Hegai, the king's eunuch, custodian of the women, and let beauty preparations be given them. Then let the young woman who pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti." This thing pleased the king, and he did so. In Shushan the citadel, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. Kish had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captives who had been captured with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And Mordecai had brought up Hadassah, Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. The young woman was lovely and beautiful. When her father and mother died, Mordecai took her as his son.
Long live the king!
The king has banished the former queen. He now wants a new queen, and all young females are required to report to the castle for a beauty contest. The winner of this contest will become the next queen of Persia.
I hope I win. I don't know if we dare right now. Oh, I hope I win. Go, Esther. God may work for you to do great things with your food.
No, don't ask me again, Cousin Mordecai. I hate beauty contests. Even if it's the king's command, I won't go.
But you have to, Esther. You have no choice. Anyway, out of all the beautiful females in Persia, he probably won't choose you.
Okay, I'll go, but I am not going to.
Oh, and you'd better keep the fact that you are a Jew under your hat.
When virgins were gathered together a second time, Mordecai
Yay!
sat within the king's gate. Now Esther had not revealed her family and her people, just as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther obeyed the command of Mordecai, as when she was brought up by him.
Bring in the girls! Can you cook squirrel brains?
You yuck. No way.
What about frog legs? Can you fry up a mess of frog
frog legs?
What about you? Can you cook squirrel brains, fry up frog legs, cook up a big pie jambalaya?
Yes.
I choose you.
I assassinate the king, then I can take the throne and rule the entire kingdom.
In those days, while Mordecai sat with two of the king's eunuchs, Bigthana and Teresh, doorkeepers, became furious and sought to lay hands on King Ahasuerus. So the matter became known to Mordecai.
Yay!
He told Queen Esther.
Aww.
And Esther
Aww.
informed the king in Mordecai's name.
Yay!
And when an inquiry was made into the matter, it was confirmed, and both were hanged on a gallows. And it was written in the book of the Chronicles in the presence of the king.
See who's at the door.
It's Mordecai, your highness.
That weird guy that sips on my gate every day? Send him in. What is it that you want, Mordecai?
Your life is in jeopardy, boss man. Teresh is planning to kill you and take over your throne.
Guard, hunt Trish down like a beaver. Throw him in the swamp with alligators. Make sure this gets recorded in the history books.
Yes, sir. After these things, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes who were with him. And all the king's servants who were within the king's gate bowed and paid homage to Haman, for so the king had commanded concerning him. But Mordecai would not bow or pay homage. Make way for Lord Haman!
Why don't you bow, you pesky beaver? I only bow to God. What kind of redneck is this boy? He is a Jew. Hey, Johannes, there are certain men in your great dynasty who are evil. They're just like beavers, okay? If I have your permission, I'll kill them all.
Whatever, you have my permission.
Hey, you won't regret it, Jack.
When Mordecai learned all that happened, he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes, and went out into the midst of the city. He cried out with a loud and bitter cry. He went as far as the front of the king's gate, for no one might enter the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. And in every province where the king's command and decree arrived, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes.
I need to speak with Esther.
Well, calm down now. You can't come in here looking like that. What is it that you want me to tell Esther? I'll give her the message.
Haman is going to hunt all the Jews down like beavers and eliminate them all. Tell her to go to the boss man and tell him that she herself is a Jew. And maybe he will recant.
Okay.
All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces know that any man or woman who goes into the inner court of the king who has not been called, he has but one decree. Put all death, except the one to whom the king holds out the scepter, the golden scepter, that he may live. Now it happened on the third day that Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the king's palace, across from the king's house, while the king sat on his royal throne in the royal house, facing the entrance of the house. So it was, when the king saw Queen Esther standing in the court, that she found favor in his sight, and the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. Then Esther was near and touched the top of the scepter.
Esther, what is it that you want? Why have you come to see me?
My king, I have something important to tell you. I would like to invite you and Haman to a frog-like feast that I prepared.
Great! Haman, go take a bath. You can't come today and smell like fish bait. We can't let Esther catch your microbes.
Hey, the queen invited me to a special frog-like banquet. That must mean that she knows I'm just as important as the king.
So Haman got that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai on the king's gate, and that he did not stand nor tremble before him, he was filled with indignation against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman restrained himself and went home. And he sent and called for his friends and his wife Zeresh.
Haman, what's the matter? Hey, even though I'm the second highest, even the queen thinks so, okay? All the king's men ain't got nothing on me, and Mordecai still won't bow to me.
I have an idea. Why don't you have our servants make gallows, then ask the king's permission to hang Mordecai?
Hey, now that's an idea, okay? How tall should I make those gallows?
Well, he is pretty tall.
I guess 75 feet.
That night the king could not sleep. So one was commanded to bring the book of the records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king.
Sword! I can't sleep. Read me some of my history. That stuff's so dry, it'll probably put me out like a light.
Then King Ahasuerus led out his army against the Greeks. He decided to make a bridge out of boats across the
Not there, not that! I want some happy history.
Then Bigthana and Teresh conspired against the king, but Mordecai saved the king.
What was he rewarded with?
Nothing, I guess. It's Haman.
Hey, I have something to ask you, okay?
Mom, but first I have a question for you. Tell me, what should I do for someone who has pleased me?
Well, he probably means me. The king should buy him brand new hunting clothes, let him take his best fishing boat, and hey, then parade him through the bayou shouting, "This man catches the biggest catfish in the swamp," okay?
Great! I want to go do that for Mordecai.
So what, Jack?
So Haman hurried mourning with his head covered. Then Haman told his wife Zeresh and all his friends friends everything that had happened to him. His wise men and his wife Zeresh said to him, "If Mordecai, before whom you have begun to fall, is of Jewish descent, you will not prevail against him, but will surely fall before him." While they were still talking to him, the king's eunuchs came and hastened to bring Haman to the banquet which Esther had prepared.
Well, that was a fine meal, Esther. But what is it that you want?
I am a Jew, and Haman plans to kill all of us. Save me and my people.
Haman, is this true?
Oh, well, hey!
Haman. Good news. But the gallows are done.
Gallows?
The ones that were built to hang Mordecai on.
What? Hang Mordecai on? The only one who's gonna hang on those gallows is Haman. Take Mordecai away.
On that day, King Ahasuerus gave Queen Esther, the house of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, and Mordecai, came before the king, for Esther had told how he was related to her.
Well, Mordecai, everything that was Haman's is now yours.
Is there anything we can do to save the Jews?
I'm afraid not. My orders have been sealed.
I have an idea. We can help the Jews defend themselves.
Great idea.
And that's how the Jews were delivered from their enemies. And everybody was happy, happy, happy. Everybody happy, happy, happy.
So they called these days Purim after the word pur, which means a lot. As in the lot that was cast into the day. Therefore, because of all the words of this letter, what they had seen concerning this matter and what had happened to them, the Jews established and imposed it upon themselves and their descendants and all who would join them, that without fail they should celebrate these 2 days every year, according to the written instructions and according to the prescribed time, that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city. That these days of Purim should not fail to be observed among the Jews, and that the memory of them should not perish among their descendants.